only have around 1 hour to do this, and I hope that it's not going to be that 1 hour. And most importantly, I think I need to clarify this first, that this is actually for how to start writing and to get published, of course. But this is actually for the beginners, and if you are just starting to trying to write and trying to publish in the journal articles, I think this will be a very good platform for you just to get information. I'm not saying that I am telling you what to do, but I will say that I'll just share my experience with you, and all the bad experience and the good experience as well. But mostly, when I started this, it was not a good one, but I think that would be very good for you to start on something. So basically, I am going to look at. I'm going to talk about. There are 4 things that I'll touch today. So first, I'll talk about how to start writing, and second is getting published, and then I'll share with you a little bit of my experience with reviewing and getting the correction from the reviewers, which is quite colorful, I would say. You'll see that later, and a little bit of my experience, I guess. Right, so I think we can move on to the next one. How to start writing. Let me just share you with this one. All right, so I think this one is quite simple, and it's quite normal for everyone, I guess. So of course, when you want to start writing, first thing first is you need to write. You need to find your title, what you want to write. But I think for me particularly, I'll write my title will be the last one, the last thing that I'm going to write. That's basically what I do, because when I start writing, I'll just start choosing them, finding the research question first, looking at the problem or whatnot, and at the end of it, then I will know, okay, this is particularly the title that I want to put, and the title that I want to submit and put in my manuscript. So basically, I think this is the shape of the structure of your paper, and it's quite clear cut. You need to have your title, your author, abstract keywords, and whatnot. So basically, how long should your title be? I think it will be around, I don't know, maybe maximum will be around 20, I guess, but I think around 8 to 13 will be okay for you to write the title and the keywords, of course. And then of course, you're going to move to the introduction, to the methods and the results and discussion and conclusion and whatnot, and lastly the reference, of course. Okay, so I'll just skip this and then move to the next one. This is quite similar with what I've shown you before. So basically, for the introduction, normally before this, I felt that I don't know what to write in my introduction. It was very difficult for me to get, the problem statement or the research, or whatever it is. People are asking me, okay, write the purpose, write the aims and everything. But basically, your introduction is the basic of your paper. So what is the context that you want to write about, the language part itself, which area that you want to investigate, and that has to be clear up in the first phase. And then the problem statement, even, right, we're looking at the problem statement, people are saying, okay, you just can write any statement that you would any statement that you want, any problem that you want. That is true, of course, to an extent where you have to at least put some research gap over there, because we know that in our field, I'm talking about my field particularly, about language field, and then we know that in our field normally we are going to look at the strategies, we're going to look at the principles, we're going to look at the experience model here and that approaches and whatnot. But there must be something new to your paper. There must be a gap to your paper that will suffice to introduce this particular manuscript that you that you are creating right now, because you can't be replicating the existing research over and over again. But you also have to understand that research comes from the word research. So it is still okay for you to write that, to find something that has been conducted before. It's just that you have to make sure that you are extending the research a little bit, and you are actually answering a different question as compared to the existing research. So that's why research gap is very, very important, especially when you want to publish in a high impact journal. So normally they're going to look at your research problem, particularly why it is important for you to write this to do the study. There must be a gap. There must be something new. There must be something different that you want to present. So normally, high impact journal is going to look at this. Yeah. And the purpose of the writing, of course, why are you writing that particular study, that particular article, and also your research questions. I also think that sometimes we look at research question as, okay, I'll just put 3 research questions and just put 2 research questions and then that's it. But in introduction part, when you have the research questions, it is closely, very, very closely related to your literature review method and discussion, of course, but particularly your methodology. Okay, why? Because your methodology is actually related to your research question. Your method is actually you're trying to measure your research questions. So it has to be related. For example, let's say your research question is about, you want to find out about the level, okay, the level of say, level of anxiety, for example. But then if the method that you're choosing is about, for example, you are conducting an interview, so it is not compatible in the sense of you won't be able to answer the level part. So that's why your research question has to be related with your methodology in terms of what kind of instrument that you want to use. Okay, if you want to identify, you want to investigate or identify something, so your instrument has to be valid enough to provide such information. Okay, so that's why I think for me introduction is very, very important, because it will lead you and to show whether you are writing a good paper or not a good paper. And normally, the impact journal is going to look closely at your introduction, especially your research gap, your problem statement, as well as your research questions. Yeah. All right. So I'm moving on literature review. I also think that literature review is a part. It is quite important as well. Why? Because before this, when I was just started to write, I always thought that, okay, literature review, we just have to find any theories, any whatsoever framework, models, or anything that is related to the topic, and I just put it there and write for 1 page or 1.5 page, and then that's all. But basically, literature review is closely related to your discussion. Some people are making they're making a they are separating, between literature review and discussions. But basically, what we can do is, at first, you might want to try to start the discussion when you want to explain your table, explain the figures, explain your data. I think you need to look at your literature review, what you have done before. So whatever that you have written in the discussion, it has to be there in literature review as well, because you don't want to do so many works and then you just leave the literature review without being used in the discussion. So it's kind of a waste of time as well. And as I said, as I put there, you can see from the screen, it has to be relevant. If you're looking for a theory of motivation, for example, a theory of reading or writing, for example, so literature review has to come from a theory of it, maybe some sort of approach or challenges and things like that, and it has to be relevant to the literature, to the topic that you're choosing. And 5 years, it has to be within the range of 5 years of the time when you are producing the paper or the manuscript. Let's say this year is 2020, so you might want to find research or studies that is within this 5 years time, so from 2015 to 2020, and because it has to be the latest one, the latest one. But of course, you can include those theories that has been developed a long time ago, maybe a basic one. Of course, you can use that as well. But basically, if you want to look at comparison of studies between your study and studies from other people from other countries, for example, so the range of 5 years is quite important, and certain journals are actually stressing a lot on this 5 years time frame. And of course, related to the title is quite relevant. It's the same thing with relevant, right? So I've also, okay, now we might want to look at the method as well, how to answer the research questions. there was this one particular time when I sent my manuscript to a journal, and the feedback that I got was my method is not compatible with my research question. So as I said before, I got lots of bad experience, not to say very bad experience, but I'm learning how to, polish my paper by getting all of this, comments and whatnot. So this particular journal said that, okay, it's not compatible. My instrument is not compatible with my research question. So they suggested for me to change my research question a little bit. So I said, yeah, okay, now I learned something new, which is, of course, it has to be compatible. Whether you're choosing qualitative or quantitative, it's qualitative, then it's, of course, interview, observation and whatnot, and you're going to use coding. And then quantitative will be SPSS. If you're good with SPSS, that's a bonus for you. I'm not very good with it, so I have to, I try to, go into it and learn it slowly, basically, and sometimes I just ask people to do it, the people from the statistics department to do it. But if you are good with SPSS, it's a bonus, definitely. Right? So so quantitative and qualitative, as I said just now, interview questions, observation. Quantitative here will be maybe survey, questionnaires, Likert scale that you're using, 1 to 5, 1 to 10, for example. So it depends on what kind of topic that you're writing about. Right. So the next one, which is adopt and adapt. So here, I think when you adopt here is you are adopting an instrument, from the existing one. Adapt is you just make some changes to it, especially when you are actually taking, you're choosing instrument from outside of Malaysia, for example. You might want to make some adaptation to the instrument, because it might not be quite similar or suitable to your target, to your respondents, to your target group. So for me, I would say that I would adapt some of the questionnaires, and I would put that in methodology, that the questionnaire is adapted from what. For example, if I'm doing about communication apprehension, I'll say that I adapt the questionnaires from Horwitz questionnaire, FLCES or something, right? So this part method here is all about that. I think you already know about the structure as well. And of course, you move to the discussion part, the tables, the figures, the significance, answering the research question, answering the gap that you have put in introduction, answering the research question. At first, when I started writing, I was so scared that my data is not significant, my result is not significant. For example, I'm looking at the differences of communication apprehension from the different genders, for female, and I said, oh, why it is not significant? Why my data is not significant? It shows that there's no difference, for example. But then your data is your data. Even if it's not significant, you have to be truthful to your data and just report to the result itself. So even if it's not significant, that's the data, that's the finding that you have, you found that. So it is okay if it's not significant, just go on with the paper. For me, just start writing first and then go on with the flow, and then see, maybe you will make comparison. For example, other people, when they did it to a certain different kind of group, and they said that, okay, there's a difference, for example, between the level, but you found none. That's okay. Just make comparison by saying that your research is, is a bit contrary, back to another research, whereas the result shows insignificant value or not, okay, something like that. So it is okay, whatever the discussion, whatever data that you're getting, whatever results that you're getting, just be truthful to it. Yeah. All right, and then yeah, a bit of the tips that I would like to share with you. I think this one is quite straightforward. Beware of predatory journals and conference. Do you notice that when of course you get a lot of what you call it, emails, coming to your Gmail, and before there's a Lotus note asking, saying that, okay, dear Mr., dear Doctor, whatnot, we encountered your paper entitled whatnot, and we believe that it is compatible with the scope of our journal, and we would like to invite you to contribute to this journal whatnot. We always get this kind of an emails, but then we don't know whether this one is a valid, a legit kind of journals or not. So when we want to start publishing to any journals, it doesn't matter. You have to make a little bit of research whether this journal is basically non-predatory, has high impact factor, and whether it is a good one or not, whether it is actually indexed by Scopus or WOS or ERA, for example. Okay, how are we going to do this? How are we going to look at this? Right, first thing first, you might want to look at the list given by MOE, and I think if I'm not mistaken, PGI also they endorse the list of blacklisted journals and also predatory journals, and then asking people to be to become, you have to be aware of it about this, because what's the problem with this predatory journal basically? Well, you will have a journal that claims, one part is a journal that claims that they are indexed by Scopus, for example, but basically it is not. So when you check in the internet and then you look at the scopus.com and then you see, oh, this journal is actually not listed, not indexed by Scopus. But when they give you the email, they claim that it is actually indexed by Scopus. So this is one of it as well. But there is also the type of journal. It is a valid journal. It is a legit journal, but it has low impact factor. And it is stated in the journal that, these are the factors and whatnot, impact factors, but then they are charging you like maybe 300 USD or 500 USD, for example. And then you thought that, we thought that it is actually a good journal, but it is not. A good journal, for example, Q1, Q4, 3, 2, and 1, and these journals, you will have to, normally you need around 2,000 or 2,500 ringgit to publish in this Q1 and Q2. So if this kind of journal, these predatory journals, if they claim that they are Q1 and Q2, for example, and then they're asking for 2,000 ringgit for your manuscript to be published, so this is where these journals got into the blacklisted list. Yeah, there are also journals who claim that they have they only have a certain impact. They are not indexed by Scopus. They did mention that they're not indexed by Scopus, just by Google Scholar or not. But then the fees that they're charging you is very, very high. For example, 1,500 ringgit. So it is not good for you to send your manuscript to these journals as well, because even though it's legit, it's there, it is not inside the blacklisted journals list, but the fees are too high, and it's not worth it. It's not worth for you to spend your money on that. So you can look, whatever it is, whatever journals that you encounter, you need to look into the website. Just do a little bit of research, whether this journal is okay or not. If it's Scopus, you can go to scopus.com and just type some of it. And then if it's WOS, you can go to the Clarivate, right? MGL Clarivate, and then just type there, and then to make sure that these journals are actually indexed by Scopus or WOS. Okay, so we also have another one. How are you going to know whether this is actually a good journal or not? To make sure that you don't fall into the trap of predatory journals, you can also look at Bill's list, right? Bill says he's a person, he's from University of Colorado, so he came up with this kind of list about the list of predatory journals, you see. He came up with a list, and then he released the list, and then people are looking at the list, referring to the list to make sure that they don't fall into a trap. And I look at the list, and I think that it is a very good list. Somehow, the problem with Bill's list is he's looking at the, what do you call it, the publisher, the publisher of the journals itself, and then he will blacklist all of the journals according to the publisher itself. Right? For example, there was this one time when I got this email from Horizon Research Publishing, and of course the normal email, we invited you to send. We are inviting you to send your journals or not your paper to these journals. But this particular journal is called Universal Journal of Educational Research or something. Yeah. So I did a little bit of research, and I look at them, the website a little bit about this Universal Journal, and then I look at Bill's list, and then it so happened that this Universal Journal of Educational Research is included in Bill's list. So I was like, okay, this is a predatory journal, so no, I don't want to send my manuscript. I did go through up until the second stage of reviewing process. I send my manuscript, and then they get the feedback, and then they correction, and they send it again. So it's up to the second stage already. But then I stopped. I didn't sign the agreement, and I didn't make any payment because this journal is actually in Bales list. But then after a few months after that, I checked. I don't know why, but I did check Schemago, the website, and then when I just typed the journal, University Journal of Educational Research, and it was there. It was actually there in Schemago, and it is actually Q4 journal. So yeah, it's my, I don't know. So that's why I said it's very important for you to look and to study, to do a little bit of research, just cross-check with BJI, cross-check with library, cross-check with the database whether this is a good one or not. Yeah, because things happen. So I missed my chance for Q4 journal there. All right, so that's beware of predatory journals. Yeah. The next one, okay, collaborate with lecturers from other faculties or other universities. This is very, very interesting as well, because I think we from the language department, from the language field, we thought that what can I do? I mean, what kind of research that I can come up with? What kind of theory? Because there are so many theories already. I wouldn't be able to make a new, I wouldn't be able to create new knowledge, giving new information or not, okay? Giving such a big impact to the community. But basically, if you think that for me, you cannot be too confined with your field. It is better for us to cross-discipline. You can move and collaborate with people from other faculties, other departments, for example, business, maybe engineering, maybe architecture, for example. Try to collaborate, because you'll be able to see a different views on how they write their papers, and different process, and different structures, different ways of writing even. It is very, I think that kind of experience is very, very good. Okay, for example, previously I worked with different faculties, and we did a research about TBI patient. TBI stands for traumatic brain injuries patients. So I was there with the team, inside the team together. They were talking about all this medical stuff and science stuff and whatnot, all this quality, the questionnaires, whatever. I don't really understand, but then I'm learning something. Yeah, and then at the same time, because I would like to know how TBI patients describe their life after they have recovered from that condition. So when I got the data given to me, the interview given to me, I analyzed the data and looking at how they use their language, how they describe their life, the adjectives that they're using, the vocab that they're using. It is very, very interesting and very, very colorful. So here, we don't really have to stick with, okay, strategy, reading strategy, listening, writing, speaking, grammar, not that. Not skills, yeah, not so much on skills. So you might want to move to something else as well. So maybe your research might not be related to the field of teaching, learning, education. It could be something else, because language is big. We can go anywhere with that. So while they were producing the papers about the TBI patients' experience, about the quality of life and whatnot, I'm looking at the data, I got the data, and then I analyze how they the words they're using, the experience and whatnot. So it was kind of an eye-opening kind of thing, yeah? So very good, basically. So you might want to try and go and cross-discipline to other people. I am really, really looking forward to work with people from ACES. I know ACES or CTU ACES, right? Because I like to know more about that. I'm trying to find a chance to go and work with these people as well. Right. So the next one is maximize the data from your demographic profile. Okay. This is what I did with my research. Okay. For example, if you can look here. Okay. Let's say you want to conduct a research about communication apprehension. Okay, it's there. And then this is the title. This is just a small short title. Okay, this is, for example, your focus, communication apprehension. And then you will have a questionnaire, a set of questionnaire, for example, with a few, I think around 23 or 23 questions, one mistaken, or 32 questions, remember. So you have a set of questions. Do you notice that normally when we answer questionnaires, people gave us questionnaire and we answer it, we we have to answer the question of age, your gender, your educational background, your race, things like that, right? So these are demographic profiles, the things that we always have to answer, and then just okay, I'm a female, okay, I'm a lecturer, my work, my age and whatnot, something like that. But basically, sometimes we tend to forget that from one particular questionnaire, one set of questionnaire, you can actually publish many papers on that. A lot of papers, basically. Right, for example, I have this one particular questionnaire, and this is about communication apprehension. And then when I analyze the data, okay, if you can look at the the last one, level of communication apprehension, public versus private university. You're looking at students, whether they are having problem with, while they're communicating, while they're presenting, for example, are they worried? Are they anxious about something? So it goes back to this about collaborating with lecturers from other universities. When you collaborate with people from other universities, you know that we have our students, and we know that our students are only, they are the Bumi Putra students, the Malay, Sabahan, Sarawakian, and they are we don't have Malays, sorry, we don't have Chinese and Indians at the same time. So that's why in this private university, public university. So when you collaborate with people from other universities, you can ask them, of course, you are in a team together, they can distribute the questionnaires to their students from a different range, different types of students. Private universities, you will have the Chinese and the Indians and the foreigners even. So that will be very good for your data. So that's why you can come up with the first paper, which is the level of communication apprehension. You want to make comparison between public university, UITM, for example, and private university, Taylor's or UTP and whatnot. Okay, so that's one paper, only one paper, based on your demographic profile, where you ask them whether they come from private or public university. So that's one paper. And then after that one paper done, you can move to the next one, communication apprehension. Now you're looking at gender, okay? Because again, demographic profile, you have gender there, male and female. So you might want to look at the comparison, whether is there any differences in terms of the level of apprehension between male and female. So this is where the theory of maintaining masculinity, maintaining femininity comes into the picture, when you study that, you will see, oh, there must be some differences. The female, they are quite scared in terms of feedback, for example. The males, they are quite scared in terms of pronunciation, for example. So this is where you can actually provide a new set of research based on one particular questionnaire that you distributed before. Okay, and then the next one, and now again from the demographic profile, you have communication apprehension based on races. Okay, remember what I said just now? You have a wide scope of respondents. You have people, you have Malays, you have Chinese, you have Indians and whatnot. So this is where you can see, okay, what about their apprehension in terms of races? Are the Malays afraid of evaluation? Chinese afraid of their grades? Or maybe the Indians are afraid of their pronunciation, maybe? So this is where you can see the differences, whether it is significant or not. I did this research and I found that there are significant differences between these three races. There are certain factors where they are scared of, depending on their races and whatnot. So it is quite colorful as well. So again, as I said, the third paper that you can come up with from one set of questionnaires, right? And then the next one, communication apprehension in terms of, SL is second language versus FL, foreign language. Again, if you have, for example, that particular data where you have students from other universities, you can also find foreigners from there, and then you should be able to find particular students who are learning English as foreign language, not as second language. So here again, another comparison, another study that you can make. So from one particular from one particular set of data, you will be able to find 3 or 4 papers from there, right? So if you have a team with 4 people in it, so each of you can take turn to become the main author, and then of course the main author normally would be the one who's going to do the discussion, because that will be the core your core subject, and then just by using one particular questionnaire. Because before this, what I did was, this I'm sharing my experience, what I did before. What I did was one study, one questionnaire, and then the second study that I have to do, I have to write another question. I have to find another question, construct another questionnaire. So it is a bit tedious in the sense that it's taking your time, and then if you are constructing your own questionnaire, you have to go to Combat Alpha and try to find whether it is good or not, and then sometimes it doesn't actually, the questionnaire doesn't really measure what you want to find. So use demographic profile, that would be good. This is what I did. One set of questionnaire, 4 papers from that. Okay. And again, I think when we talk about the team, the worst part in doing research is when you have team members who did not contribute, or any free rider as usual, or maybe you become a free rider. We don't want that to happen. But you have to be very careful in choosing your team members as well, because there are also team members who just want to, who are there because okay, I don't want to write anything. I just want to give you some money. If you just name, just name me the price, and I'll just give you the money, and then you just publish it. But I don't want to do anything. I don't want to write anything. We also have that kind of people in our, when we are doing research. So we do want that to happen. Again, as I said, if you have 4 different set of papers, take turns to become the main author, and then if you can get the chance to go to the conference. You would like to present your ideas or your findings and your results, and want to share with people. So you want to, let's say, stake your ownership there. Okay, all right, and then set your goals. Okay, the next one, set your goals. How many papers this year? Okay, I've shown you just now 1 questionnaire, 4 papers. So it's up to you how many papers you want to write. Basically, maybe this year 2 papers, or maybe or you want to just keep another 2 papers for the next year. It's up to you. Or maybe you want to all 4 papers in the same year. It's up to you. It's based on your own priority and your own preferences. Yeah. But you need to set your goals, okay? Because you can actually bring forward the paper to the next year, in case if you think that, for example, I think this year 2 papers are enough. The KPI that I need to achieve this year is 2 papers Corpus, or 2 paper ERA, 2 papers, and then that's all. I want to focus on something else. So another 2 paper, keep it, for the next year, for example. But you have to set your goals first, or else if you don't, then you're going to juggle a little bit with the timeline, with the deadlines. You have to submit, because the process is a bit tedious. You submit the manuscript first, and then you get the responses from the reviewers, and then you have to make correction, and then you send it again, and then you will get the feedback again. It will take some time for you to produce, to publish one particular paper. All right, so this one is done. Right, for the next one. Get it published. Where to get it published? How to get it published? So we have 4 steps here. I am following the steps. So basically, when I first started writing, I went for preceding paper first. But even if it's preceding, because first preceding is very cheap. Not to say very, very cheap, but at least 150 ringgit, or maybe 400-500, you will be able to get preceding, and you'll be able to get into preceding paper, publishing preceding paper, conference in EISSN. You will get the publication title there. So you might want to start there first, because basically preceding, they are more laid back. Okay, you send the abstract, and then they review the abstract, it is accepted, and then you go to the conference and then you present. Okay, so that's a good start. Very, very good start for beginners. I started with preceding first, and then when it's very good. But then you have to be careful with some proceedings as well. I mentioned just now, there are also predatory conference, not just predatory journals, but also predatory conference. Sometimes they're putting the advertisement that they put this is actually indexed by this is not, but then in the end it's not. Okay, so you have to be very careful with it as well. And some conference. They don't really include publication, and no EISSN, no ISSN, no publication. They just invite you there. They just invited you there, and then you just present your paper, but it is not going to be published. So you have to be very careful when you are reading the advertisement, whether it is your work is going to be published or not. So you have to be careful a bit on that. Okay, and then the next one. is actually journal reviewed, peer-reviewed journals, okay, from my side or my journal. This can be a very good start as well, because this is quite easy. Not to say quite easy, I'm not saying quite easy. Not everything is easy. It is okay, but it is you can publish it here, and it's a bit cheaper. I think around 900 maybe, or 800 something, depending on the journal itself, depending on the impact factor as well. So you can try this, index by my side, index by my journal. You can start with this one, and then whatever comments that they're giving you, it is actually helping you to become a very good writer, very good researcher, so that you can move to the next stage, which is Scopus, WOS, or ERA. Right. For Scopus, WS, or ERA, this is actually, I will call it a middle ground. I would say that this is a good stage to test you whether you are, your paper is good or not, because there are several steps that you have to go through, sending it, and then the reviewing process, and sometimes you will get rejected as well. But I don't think people will get rejected. Normally, they will ask you to polish the paper, make some corrections and whatnot. So yeah, so where can you, again, beware of predatory journals. You can just Google some of the names of the journals and then make sure that it is there, indexed by this Scopus, WS, or ERA, just to make sure that it is a legit one, and you're not actually sending your manuscript to bad journal that is, false claims, sometimes they make false claims. So many journals now. I think if I'm not mistaken, I think a few days ago, I don't remember whether it was 28, was it 28? I don't know, a few days ago, I think 3-4 days ago, they have come up with a new list of the impact factor, list of impact factor journals, about the Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4 journals. There are so many journals, thousands of journals, I think around more than 3,000, almost 4,000 journals. They categorize them in Q1, Q2, Q3, or Q4. So Q1 is definitely the top 25% of journals, and then you can have Q4 as well. But it is always important for you to look into the status first, where the journals is actually there. So again, might want to try with proceeding, and then go to peer-reviewed journal, and then go to Scopus, and go to Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 first. Right, Q3, Q4 around 1,000 to 1,500, 1,800, and then Q1, Q2 maybe around 2,000 to 2,500. It's a bit expensive, of course, but it's a good one, yeah. It's a very, very good one. So you might want to try this papers as well, because as I said, these are stages that you have to go through. You have done proceeding paper, and then go to peer reviewed, and then go to Scopus, and then go to Q1, for example. So yeah, you have to look at them, it's your own satisfaction as well. Okay. All right. All right. So this is actually a sample of the one that you might want to look at. So these are the advertisement. For example, if you look at the first one, all accepted articles will be published in Scopus. So this is a guaranteed kind of publication. So that's why they will have a strict and rigid kind of process a little bit, because when you send the articles to these journals or conference and whatnot, so they will make sure that they will do 1 layer, 2 layers of reviewing and whatnot to make sure that it is good enough. It has its own quality to be published in the Scopus Index. But if you look at that, will be published. All accepted papers will be published. So definitely you might want to go for this kind of a journal, because whatever comments that they're giving you, never mind. Take it as a, you're learning something, right? So for me, I think we might want to go to this kind of particular, conference or journals. But I think nowadays, even when they want to publish in Scopus, they would like you to give the, we call it the evidence for proofreading, if I'm not mistaken, evidence of proofreading, as well as evidence of plagiarism. Yeah, they want to look at the plagiarism index there. So some articles, some journals are doing it for you, meaning that they will do the turning in process for you, but some wants you to do on your own and provide the evidence to them. So it will be good as well. But if you look at the next one, if you look at the words there, selected abstract will be recommended. Full paper, selected full paper papers will be recommended for publication. So they will select. So when you go to the conference, for example, you can just present your papers and whatnot, but if you're not selected, then your paper will just be published with e-proceedings, ISSN or ISBN. But you want to go for Scopus. If you have done the first step proceedings and my peer-reviewed journals, you want to go for Scopus. So this might not be a good platform for you. You might want to go with the guaranteed one. It will be difficult, but it's a guaranteed one. So you might want to go with all accepted papers will be published instead of selected papers will be recommended for publication. So instead of that, you might want to go with that one, yeah? The first one, that is. All right, and then, all right, this is just something that I would like to share with you. MIRA publication equivalency. You see, one journal index in Scopus, WOS, and ERA is equivalent to 6 index proceedings and 3 journals index in MySite. So let's say you are writing peer-reviewed journals, 3 peer-reviewed journals index in MySite, it is equivalent to 1 index journal in Scopus, or WOS, or ERA. I think, I mean, UITM is actually encouraging us to publish in Scopus and WOS, of course ERA as well, but Scopus, WOS, and ERA are counted in MIRA to get MIRA score, but only Scopus and WOS are going to be counted for the QS ranking. So I think that's why the university is actually pushing us to publish in Scopus and WOS and whatnot because of the QS ranking itself. But again, if you can look at the screen, 6 proceedings, you have to publish in 6 proceedings for you to be able to get the same weightage of 1 journal index. So might as well try, right? And then the next one, okay, the review to correction. This is very interesting because I'm going to share with you my experience, the good one and the bad one, getting comments from reviewers, from the editors. Okay, look at the first one here. This is one of my papers, so originality 1, field 2, 1, 2, 2, okay, right. So it's okay, it's a good one. This one is Corpus, I guess, if I'm not mistaken. And then the second one is actually from ERA. If you look at the comments over there, however, it will be more helpful for readers if you elaborate the research design applied to the study. So this comment will help you in when you are writing your next paper. Oh, okay. So it means that next time I would like to look at my research design more. Maybe it's not strong enough. So these comments is actually very helpful for you to provide in to publish a good manuscript, that is, yeah. So the inference is clear, theoretical, practical conclusion is clear. Okay, that's all. Right, these are the good part. Okay, the glorious part, that is. I'm going to show you the bad part because this is experience, right? I think it is also good for us to know the negative sides of the process, that is, okay? So this is the one that I got in 2007. This is actually an ERA publication of 2018. He says here that my article has a similarity index more than 50%. Let me show you the next one, the paper that I got. All right, this one. You can see here, it's 94% similarity index, and look at all the red colored things and whatnot. So this is actually from Turnitin. They went into Turnitin, they sent it into Turnitin, and they found that 94% similarity index. Wow. I was very surprised at that time, and I was puzzled because I told them, not to say told them, that was very harsh, right? No, not to say told them. I emailed them politely, telling them that I was mad a bit at first, but then you have to, of course, politely telling them that I am unsure of why the similarity index is 94%, because as far as I'm concerned, I've never published this paper anywhere. This is an original one. I did not plagiarize anyone, and I did it on my own with my team, of course. So I said that I was asking them to just recheck maybe something is wrong there and whatnot. Okay, so I did ask them, so politely, of course, asking them to look into it again, and then they gave me this one. They will go through the turning in again, and they will discard the affiliation and the references, because that was the one that makes my article become like this. Okay, so basically after that, yeah, it got published straight away after that. It was less than 30% basically, because it's an original paper. So the process, as I told you, this one took around 6 months or 8 months, if I'm not mistaken. I started doing this in the middle of 2017, mid 2017, and then this one was published in February 2018. This one is error, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So my experience dealing with things like this, and then okay, another one. Oh no, no. Okay, so another one that I had was this one was this Corpus Journal. I sent the manuscript, and then I got the feedback, the reviewers' comments. It was very, very bad, because it's the comment said, your purpose is not clear, your aim is not clear, your research questions is not compatible with the method and whatnot. I was very, very down when I got that comments, because I thought that, okay, is it that bad? I mean, I know it's Corpus, but wow, you do have very, very high standard, that is. So again, if you think that I look into the papers, of course, I look into the papers again, and I ask my friends, my team members, and then I ask people from, people to check my paper first. And so, is it really true that the purpose is not clear? Is it true that my method is not, my method cannot investigate, cannot find the research question, cannot answer the research question? So I did ask people around, and they said, no, I think it's okay. It is an okay, so there's nothing wrong with that. So I emailed them again, the reviewers, the editorial board. I emailed them again, asking them again politely, recommendation. You see, is there any problem? What can you recommend? Yet I asked them, can you recommend some changes that I should do, or some corrections that I should do, because I'm really interested in publishing the journals and whatnot. So I asked them for recommendation, because mine was accepted with major corrections. Yeah, recommended, but with major corrections. So I asked for their recommendation, and then they gave me the form again, recommendations for the author, for the writer. So when I read that, I found that this one particular, I don't really remember, because I tried to find that paper, but I couldn't, or else I can show it here. But the section say the research should focus. No, the research. Something is wrong, or you should add a little bit about the teachers' way of how they are dealing with the students, or something like that, about teachers dealing with students and whatnot. And then I paused for a while. I really paused, like not saying anything for a while, because my paper is not about teacher, it's not about student even. There's nothing there, basically. So I suspected that they were giving me the wrong form, I guess, because my paper wasn't about teacher. It wasn't about teacher at all. It wasn't about students at all. You wouldn't be able to find the word teacher or student in that particular paper, because it wasn't about teaching, learning, and language and whatnot. Nothing about that. So again, emailed to them, to the reviewer, saying that again politely, okay, maybe there's something, maybe there's a misunderstanding, and then I put my title again, my reference number, and then the copy of my extract, just for them to refer to. And then yeah. So basically, it was a wrong form given to me. Funny that it happens with Corpus, but I don't know, maybe it happened to me. I don't know about other people, but it happened to me. So basically, the comments that I got was actually recommended with minor corrections. The new correction is actually about the literature review. I have to find something that within 5 years. So that, like I said before, the duration has to be within 5 years. And they want me to clarify a bit about my aims of the study pages, but the aims and the literature review, and then it's good to go and publish Scopus. So these are my experience, I guess, when I was dealing with journals. But I will say that basically whatever it is, we might want to go through this steps. There's go for proceedings, you will learn a lot, and then go for peer-reviewed journals, you will learn a lot too, and then move to Scopus. So move to LL, and then move to Scopus, and move to WS, and then get a chance to move to the Q1, Q4 first, Q3, Q2, Q1, and whatnot. So I think that's all that I have to share. I don't really have so much to say, but I hope that it is it is helpful for everyone. I'm not saying that this is something that you really I know. The thing is, I would like you to share your experience as well, because I'm not telling you what to do, because I'm also learning. I think everyone is actually learning something new, especially first we are from the language field. Sometimes we feel that we are restricted. We are being constrained by not being able to find good papers, not be able to publish any good paper. But basically, well, we can cross discipline, never mind cross discipline, and cross work with people from other universities. That would be very good, I guess. Yeah. So if you have any experience that you would like to share, so yeah, go on, please do so. Thank you so much, people.
All right, thank you, Cik Mahfuzah. Okay, is there any question to Cik Mahfuzah? Feel free to ask or feel free to share your knowledge as well.
Right. There's nothing to ask, then we can call it a day then, I guess.
Yeah, because it was very clear, Fuzah.
I hope that, I mean, I'm sharing my bad experience, because I think that yeah, we heard of all the glorious thing of publication and whatnot, but we can also share
Yes,
on
yes.
something that is the process itself. The process is quite colorful, the good one and the bad ones as well. So I hope that it's really helpful, and can add more to some knowledge and experience and whatnot. All right, I guess that's all then. Thank you so much, organizer. Thank you so much, Lisa, for calling me up, and then in point one as well. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
All right. So on behalf of our unit, unit penyelidikan and penerbitan, thank you, Cik Mahfuzah and everyone. I think that's all for today. And thank you. Don't forget to fill in the attendance form.